the prominent leaders of the sport with this common refrain of centralizing fighters, getting everybody to one spot and putting on shows that would be behind closed doors for TV only, a studio environment. Mark, I know the conversation advanced today. What can you tell us?
Top Rank President Todd DuBoef told me to expect when we do come back, it will be at a single sanitized, disinfected facility without any fans at all. Now, I don't know when. July is a optimistic estimate, but he is dealing with various state athletic commissions, Florida, Texas, California, and Nevada. I would think that Nevada has to be the front runner. They have deep connections with Top Rank, a Nevada company. Also, if you think about it, boxing represents a much greater economic value and a loss in Nevada than it does in other states.
All right, they're
already starting to reconfigure how this would look, and there won't be any ringside seats, Timmy.
Well, there's a lot of layers for us to go through here, a lot of questions to be answered. Dre, I want to start with you and just get to the big one. Can this work? In listening to what Aaron puts forth, what others put forth, of one centrally located, sanitized setting in a studio environment for boxing, can this work?
Well, can it work? It's going to take time, obviously, for us to work out the kinks. And I think Bob Arum said it best, that everyone's flying blind right now. This is an unprecedented time, so there's going to be unprecedented measures that are, taking place. And that's what I hear Bob Arum saying. He wants to enact something that has never been done in professional sports, which is you have one gym, everybody congregates at that gym, obviously at different times. This opponent will come at one time, the other opponent comes at another time. They'll leave, they'll go back to their whatever place they rent out for these guys to kind of stay and get what they need, the food and rest, and then come back to this one place. It's tough, Joe, because obviously testing is a big deal right now. All over the news. It would have to be a lot of testing, because anytime a fighter leaves the building of the gym, he's out of your sight. If he goes down the street and touches, a gas pump or something, just never know how somebody can get germs on their hand, put it to their mouth, their eyes, and now they can contract something. It may not even be the coronavirus, but it could be influenza. It could be the common cold, and that's going to halt everything immediately. So I like the concept. I think it can work. But it's going to take somebody to take that first step and that first leap to prove that it can work.
Tim, would you buy into this?
I mean, like Dre said, it could work, possibly, but there's so many layers to this onion. And the more we pull back this onion, the more tears come down, man, because I want to get back to boxing. And I'm sure that fans and the fighters want to get back to fighting. But I just truly think that we got to have some sort of procedure to keep everybody safe. The fighters safe, the ones fighting in the ring, and also the people around. I'm okay with having fights without fans. That's not the biggest issue. The issue that I'm having is that getting a fighter from a different country to come over, that's the hardest thing right now. We won't have the big fights like Lomachenko and Lopez. Loma, I believe, is in Russia or where he resides in his hometown right now, and can't come into the United States. So, the big fights, I don't think it's going to happen. Maybe smaller case fights. I wouldn't mind seeing Shakur Stevenson get in the ring if they can come up with some sort of protocol that we can follow. And then I think that all the other sports will follow after boxing. But I do believe that boxing probably will be the first to come back as a sport on television.
As bad as this is, it represents a great opportunity for boxing. Boxing's in the same place that everyone else is. You need rapid, reliable testing. Okay, but beyond that, it's going to be easier for boxing to come back. You need fewer people. And I think that this does represent an opportunity, perhaps not to fighters overseas, perhaps not for pay-per-view level fighters who need that revenue stream from a live gate. but guys who are game fighters will find an audience ready, available, and willing to root for them once you have testing in place.
Well, it's interesting to hear the reactions because, Dre, your mind immediately went to the way I suppose it would have gone to when you were a fighter, of thinking about all the things you have to deal with. And my opponent's going to be in the same hotel with me while I'm training. He's going to be sharing the gym with me. Then could I get sick? Who's going to get sick? How could we be compromised? Which then leads us to ask the question, how will the fighters, the current fighters, react to this proposal? You're the manager for one of the most prominent young fighters in the sport. What are you sensing in terms of how the fighters are going to react to this?
I can't speak for every fighter, Joe, but I can speak for Shakur because I've spoken to him personally, and he wanted me to let everybody know personally that please, as soon as there is a protocol in place, that he would like to be one of the first ones back. He's not worried about. Of course, he doesn't want to get sick. He doesn't want to affect anyone. He doesn't want to be affected, but he wants to get back to the sport he loves. He wants to fight. He wants to make a living. He understands that may be in front of, an empty arena or an empty building. He's okay with that. He loves the sport itself more than he does, just performing in front of a bunch of people. That is obviously important, but I think he'll take what he can get right now. And I think that's honestly going out on a limb. I think most fighters would feel that way. Maybe not the top tier guys who are well accomplished and they're making multi-millions. But if this thing continues and persists on for an extended period of time and takes us through the summer, I think even some of those guys are going to kind of come around and back up their stand.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.